What up everyone, it's your man Xman87 here, bringing you another Marvel Legends video, and what I have for you today is the Marvel Legends Wolverine 50th Anniversary 2-pack of Wolverine vs. Psylocke, aka Lady Mandarin review. Before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's briefly go over the history between these two by revisiting the Lady Mandarin story arc as I give you that 1-2 punch of the uncanny X-Man-y story time. Let's go! Betsy Braddock was trying to prevent the X-Men's death, which she had foreseen in a precognitive vision. Betsy sent the team through the Siege Perilous. The Siege Perilous would give them all new lives. Betsy awoke on an island near China without her memories. She was found by the evil ninja clan, the Hand. The leader of the Hand, Matsuo Tsurayaba, wanted to save the life of his brain-dead girlfriend, Kwanin. To do so, he had Spiral's body shop switch Betsy's and Kwanin's souls. Spiral not only switched their bodies, but also fused their minds and physical features. They shared the same memories and shared half of Psylocke's telepathic powers. Betsy was given to the Mandarin to serve as his assassin. While working as an assassin, Betsy upgraded her armor and learned to focus her psychic energy and turn them into psychic knives. On her first assignment as Lady Mandarin, she had to battle Wolverine, who was still living in Madripoor under the guise as Patch. When she stabbed Wolverine in the head with her psychic knife, it showed her his memories and revealed to Psylocke who she truly was. Psylocke then rejected her role as Lady Mandarin and escaped with Wolverine and Jubilee to Genosha. In Genosha, Psylocke, Wolverine, and Jubilee discovered that the X-Men and the New Mutants had been captured by Cameron Hodge. They met Havoc in Genosha and went on to defeat Cameron Hodge and free the X-Men. Once the X-Men were freed, they all headed back to New York. Soon, Psylocke's loyalties were put to the test. Shortly after the original 5 X-Men rejoined the team, they found themselves under attack by Matsuo Tsurayaba. During the battle, he used a post-hypnotic command, causing Betsy to switch sides and oppose the X-Men. Her entire team ended up captive, but it turned out that she was only feigning obedience. Psylocke had truly overcome her brainwashing. When the X-Men split into 2 teams, Psylocke joined Cyclops' team. She eventually started flirting with him, and when Jean Grey found out, the two started fighting. They were interrupted when Kwanin, now calling herself Revanche, turned up at the Xavier Institute in Betsy's body and claimed to be the real Psylocke. Not knowing what or who to believe, the X-Men had no choice but allow her to stay. Revanche then confessed to Psylocke that she had contracted the legacy virus thanks to Spiral. Soon after, Revanche was mercy killed by Matsuo. Upon her death, Betsy gained her full telepathic powers and the remaining pieces of herself, but was still able to retain Revanche's martial arts skills. Kwanin's fractured memories and personality were also removed from Psylocke's mind by Matsuo, who gained a small fraction of Kwanin's psychic powers. Afterwards, Jean retrained Betsy to use her telepathy. Betsy would start a romantic relationship with Angel, which helped her in finding her new self. Let's kick things off with Wolverine, and I'm so happy that we are getting another great Logan head sculpt. Very good frown, nice frown expression. He's got those pointy angular eyebrows. We've got a 5 o'clock shadow. This looks very good. Even that nose, I like it. I dig it. The hair's got that comic blue shading, and I like that they didn't overdo it. So this looks good. This is another thing that I got a kick out of. They painted the hairs on his back. That's just funny. New pinless, smoothed out arms for the comic Wolverine body buck, and it is nice because I like when they paint the hairs instead of sculpting it on it. Now I gotta say, it doesn't outdo the Logan from the Sabretooth 2-pack because it is sculpted and painted on at the same time. We only get the paint and it's not sculpted, so but better than leaving it unpainted, and you guys already know it's much better than this, sculpting the hairs on it and not painting them. For the hands, they sculpted new wrist cuffs, which is the proper way to do it because the first one in the retro wave had the buckled wristbands that you've seen previously on Deadpool. And the hands here that have these claws, these are the older style claws, and it's just so hard to get behind these after being spoiled with the movie claws and the Andy Kubert style claws that you've seen on the X-Force Wolverine figure. And just to let you know, I've always been a fan of these claw shapes. It's just that they're so flimsy, man, and they warp easily. The claw ports are in a metallic silver, but they don't paint the claws in metallic silver. You know, that just, that bothers me. Like, you gotta make it look consistent. The rest of the body's decked out in all black. He's got the red belt, and they did upgrade the legs to pinless because the all smoothed out Wolverine legs without like the boot cuffs or anything were first featured on the retro Madripoor Wolverine and then later the AOA Wolverine. So because of these smoothed out legs, we might see an updated AOA Wolverine pinless. Now for accessories, he has closed fists and you still got the port sculpted on there. That makes me happy, and I know you customizers are going to ask me right away if the cuffs come out. Yes, they do. So you could do whatever you plan on doing with them. Oh, by the way, I don't know why they did this. They changed the wrist pegs. Yeah, they just completely changed the knobs on them. It's so rigid. It's like the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. So you're going to have that additional friction. I hate that because it doesn't come out as smooth as you saw. It's that hard pop, and oh man, I just fear of something breaking. Then lastly, this is his alternate head. Another smirk expression they gave him. They already gave us one with the Cowboy Logan, so I don't know why they wanted to give us another one. I guess they wanted to give us another one without. And just to bring out his other head to compare, it is a different hairstyle. I did put it on the Cowboy Logan figure, and this looks good. So you can see, you know, he's got a little more bangs coming out. And his hair that's sticking outwards a little more defined. This one's a little bit messy. He has a little messier hairdo. So yeah, I think this looks good. And I just noticed that the Cowboy Logan head has the regular shaped eyebrows and this one has the more angular one. So just wanted to point out that difference right there. Articulation not fully going to cover, but just going to cover the new parts because this is a new pinless smoothed out arm for the Wolverine buck. He does get a very good bend at the arms, and for the pinless legs, I compared it to that AOA, the smooth one. It's the same range, nothing changes. While we do get some nice new upgrades like more new Logan heads, this figure didn't need to be revisited for an update. There are far too many more figures that needed updates first. The original could have stayed in that first retro wave, or maybe they should have never released it in that retro wave to begin with and save it for this pack, because it does make sense for him to be with Lady Mandarin in a 2-pack since he battled her in this costume. I would have preferred the Mandarin from the comic cover packed in instead of this one. If you care about the upgrades, then this figure is for you. Otherwise, it isn't a necessary upgrade. I'm rating this Wolverine a 4 out of 10. Yo, one of my wishes came true, y'all. I can now check Lady Mandarin off my Marvel Legends wish list. I can't believe I got Lady Mandarin in my hands right now. This is amazing. The head sculpt is amazing. The hairstyle is amazing. Man, look at this hair sculpt. It's so beautiful. I love the way it flows. I love the purple streak and the black we get in between that. The helmet crest is sculpted beautifully. And again, it's a good head sculpt. I even like the bangs going over the helmet crest. That's nice. It's a really nice shaped helmet. Imagine if this was removable, this whole helmet piece, and you could just put it on a Psylocke body. That would have been nice. And I still love the 275 Psylocke head. I think maybe in skin tone, this one should have matched this one. The paint on the face just came out real nice, and the face print definitely defines all those details. You got that black cherry lipstick color, eyeshadows, and nice eye paint there. It just looks so beautiful. And this figure looks absolutely phenomenal, y'all. I think I found my favorite Marvel Legends figure this year. I don't think y'all understand. Like, Lady Mandarin has been on my wish list, and Psylocke is like my favorite ex-lady. So, seeing this right now, I'm at awe, man. I really am. Never did I think of the day we would get a Lady Mandarin figure. And check this out. Look at the packaging there, man. It looks sick. And another thing I noticed, on the box, she's labeled as Psylocke, right? But check this out here. You know, because the Mandarin name has some underlying racial tones. I get it, right? But they didn't hide the name Mandarin. It's still there. So I'm still hopeful that Mandarin will come in the line. They just didn't label this Lady Mandarin. So I don't know, man. Maybe because this is the back they were able to hide it. But I don't think this is going to be sold in stores, right? I think it's fan channel. So who knows? I mean, what are they gonna name Mandarin if they can't name a Mandarin? Like, it's gonna be called Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Ten Rings. You know, I don't know. Anyway, I'm keeping this box, by the way. It's just so sick. I don't keep boxes, but for this one, I will. Look at this all new scope from scratch. I'm giving you guys time to appreciate the aesthetics right here. Like, she's aesthetically pleasing top to bottom. And I thought if they were ever going to bring Lady Mandarin into the line, that they were going to probably reuse the AOA Shadow Cat body parts. And, you know, I'm glad they didn't do it. It's an all new sculpt. You know, that's what makes it better for me. It's not a reuse. It's an all new sculpt. Look at this cape too. I love the comic black shading on the wrinkles of the cape right there. I wish it kind of continued to the back like a nice flow. It didn't have to be all the way, but if it stopped like midway right there and have like this gradient fade to it, that would have been really nice. Not gonna nitpick there, but you get some metallic silver paint right there on I guess medallion you want to call it, or just or disc cape holder. I don't know the proper term for it. And then she's got her shoulder pad right there that sticks out, nicely sculpted. And look at this, man. And this is something I've always loved about her armor, the samurai inspired parts. It's so cool. I think this is called a sodi. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Anyone of Japanese or Chinese culture that's familiar with this kind of material, you know, please correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I don't want to butcher, you know, your language or anything like that. So apologies in advance. So this looks so freaking good, man. You got the ridges sculpted on there. You get the buttons. The koti or teko it's called. Like the gauntlet parts are really, really nice. You got the hand armor right there. Some nice details on the hands. Look at the 10 rings. She has them on her hands. So that's really, really nice. And so, man, I would have loved if the silver parts were metallic silver, just to match that disc right there on the cape. I also kind of wish she was completely metallic blue, just because in the comics she always had that kind of chromy look to her armor. That would have been nice, but at least the plastic parts right here on the silver is a nice reflective kind of shimmery look to it, so it does have some sort of shine. You got a new torso piece right there, so you see new chest, you even see a new lower torso. This piece right here, the kusasuri I think it's called, you know, her tacet, it looks really, really good too. Just beautiful sculpting, man. I love how they did this, and it is, again, all new sculpt from scratch. So the glutes, oh man, they failed Psylocke on the glutes right there. But as you can see, this piece right here, it is a separate piece, so it tabs in. It's hard to see with the light. Let me get a better angle for you so you can see that there's a hole right there, and that kind of just tabs in. You could glue it if you want to keep it in place, but again, we get more of that nice, beautiful armor right there. This is lovely, man. The new knee pads. Oh, this is so freaking nice, man. And here are her shoes, her feet. Nice sculpt right there too. All of this, man, it's just absolutely stunning. Also, just to let you know, the cape is not removable. You can see that tab glued in there. Now for accessories, she comes with 2 alternate hands, and oh man, again, just like they did with Wolverine, they have the notches right there at the end, man, of the wrist peg, and they're longer too. So please, Hasbro, do not do this with Marvel Legends. I had nightmares with your Lightning Collection line, which is why I sold it off, because too many of these damn wrist pegs kept breaking. Legends team, if you're listening, please do not continue to go this route. And we're gonna pop in the open hands, and I've done this a couple of times and I'm still freaking scared. I'm happy they gave her alternate hands. These look really good. They got that action stylized hands. You can see the 10 rings on there. Just looks so nice. She comes with her psychic knife, which she's got to have. And you'll probably be happy to hear this, but her side blade is a harder plastic, so it doesn't warp like the other one does. Like you can see, this is warping easily. No, this is stiff, and it's a lot sturdier. Even when clipping it on is not as gummy, so it's going to be a hard snap. Just giving you the heads up on that. Then look at this, we get new bubbly effects and not the played out round ones that have been milked to death. So these are the ones I used to dub the Bucky Cap of accessories. And so this looks really, really nice. I like the swirling effect we get there too. And these are clip-ons actually. They don't just go through the wrist peg, so you don't have to take off the wrist peg, you just snap it on, which, you know, it does scare me a bit, again, because I just think of the Captain America flip the clip system. I hate that shield so much, and they break a lot, and yeah, I'm just afraid it might be the same thing with these effects. I don't think it'll be as bad, but just that fear is still in the back of my mind. However, I love to see them try new things, and this makes me happy. Also, if you're afraid of clipping on these crackle effects so they won't break, you can get her to hold the effects with her hands, just like I did here. You're just gonna have to play around with it to get a good fitting. Then lastly, her alternate head. They did it, y'all. Freaking Hasbro did it so comic accurate with the eye shadowing above, around the forehead, and the all-white pupils. The pupils look like they're two-tone too, and the grin. You don't see many females with expressive faces, especially evil ones like this. The last one I could think of is probably Dark Phoenix off the top of my head, the one that came in that 2-pack with Cyclops. This is a masterpiece of a hair sculpt, man. I don't care what anyone says. Only thing is that the hair sculpt is the same. They didn't switch it up, but you know, that's fine. I wish this one had a different hair sculpt, maybe, you know, with her hair fully down, but this one, I like the flow to it. It just adds more with this expression. Yeah, this is gonna be the main head on my display. Sadly enough, you cannot put the 275 Psylocke head on it to get the look without the helmet, so it just doesn't work, unfortunately, and that kind of bums me out. And then if you try to put the Apocalypse Bathwave Psylocke head on it, it's not gonna pop in. It sits better than the 275 one, because as you saw, the 275 one just kind of floats around like that because of that ponytail. So maybe you just gotta bend it. I didn't try doing this. I don't know why I didn't do this at first, but nope, it's just not gonna happen. That ponytail is just gonna keep pulling it out of place. So while it doesn't pop all the way, you don't get that popping sensation, it does sit on the body a lot better, but I just don't like this head sculpt to go with it. Man, I haven't even gotten to the articulation segment, and this figure poses so well. If you know what you're doing and you know how to handle it, if you're a really good poser, you're gonna know how to get her into some really good poses. Now let's finally get into the articulation. I warn you, if you're not a great poser, then you're not gonna know how to handle this figure, okay? Because you gotta know how to handle this figure in order to get those good poses that you want and manipulate some areas. So this may not be for you in the articulation department if you're not a good poser. Her head is on a ball joint, so she looks up really far, and that's some good range. She looks downward that much, and it moves left and right. She has some great pivoting. Look at that. And then it rocks all around. Her arms right here, so the cape is going to hinder some movement, but you can lift the cape up and get some more range, okay? On the other side, you're going to get a little more flexibility in there, but I will say that the shoulder pad right here, right? You kind of want to peel up the shoulder pad right here, because if you move it upwards, you want to make sure it goes into that shoulder pad groove. So to give you the most range, I just kind of finagle it upwards until I hit that sweet spot I'm looking for. So as you can see, you could get a straight T pose out of that. And of course you could cheat with it, which I like to do, is just move this upward and then kind of angle it out so you can get that kind of upward arm movement that you're looking for. So if you want her digging in and plunging her side blade into someone's chest, you know, use that bicep swivel and the double jointed elbows to your advantage and just go, you know, go straight for the heart, bro. So she's got the bicep swivel. The double jointed elbows does give her a lot of range too, and I love that. See, she could touch her face completely. You got the wrist swivel and the wrist hinge Wish she had butterfly joints, and I wish she had a double diaphragm joint. I was hoping she had a double diaphragm joint underneath to get more range, but the torso, the way it crunches is that far forward, and it's not too bad. It does move backward. I'm just happy that the forward movement is a little bit more than you get with most female figures. However, you again manipulate it, you crunch it, and then you twist it to the side. You're gonna get that ab crunch going forward a lot more, and that's what I use to get those, crouching poses. So you got the torso swivel, deep pivoting, that's lovely. Again, nice ball joint, so you get some nice rocking motion there. And you got the legs that spread that far apart, and she does kick up pretty high. Kicking back, she goes about that far back, so she does get a frontward split, and then her motion around the hip area is pretty good. You got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, but no heel to the Lady Mandarin butt, but still exceptional range. And then you got the ankles that move up that far, down that low, and you can rock them all around. Marvel Legends consistently puts out great looking female figures, and this is easily already one of their top 5 greatest Legends female figures ever made. I don't see another Legends female figure this year topping this one for me so far. She's completely packed with great details, accessories, new effects, all new sculpt design, and is just overall aesthetically pleasing to my action figure eye. I have nothing bad to say about this figure. I've gotten pretty much all the Marvel Legends released this year, including the new releases, and out of all those new Marvel Legends figures, if I had to make a top 10 list for you right now, this is my number 1. For Marvel Legends standard, she's way above it, which is why it's going to be the first Marvel Legends figure I review this year to get a rating of a 10 out of 10 total awesomeness. Now let's compare this Wolverine next to the Hand Ninjas, as I have both red and black colors here on display. Here is Wolverine next to 2 other Wolverines from his 50th anniversary series. We have the Cowboy Logan and Brood Wolverine. Brood Wolverine and Lilandra 2-pack will be the next Legends review on my channel. Here is Lady Mandarin next to Spyro and Silver Samurai. Then I got Lady Mandarin next to the Madripoor Hand Ninjas. Very important to note that these black Hand Ninjas are the correct colors to display with this Lady Mandarin or Wolverine, as they were in the black outfits during that comic run. Lastly, here is Lady Mandarin next to her other Psylocke versions, 275 and the Jim Lee era ninja suit. Much taller, but makes sense as she's in armor. And now to wrap things up, my final rating is a 7 out of 10. Unfortunately, this Wolverine does bring the score down to just an average rating. No one vocally made noise about needing a pinless update to this version, therefore rendering it as an unnecessary update. And I actually like this costume from the comics, but pinless wasn't enough. The non-painted outdated claws, even with the more realistic looking hair deco, it just wasn't enough. Only the heads will be useful out of this to swap onto your other Wolverine figures. Despite this being undesirable, nothing was going to stop me from getting my hands on Lady Mandarin, no matter who they packed in. My love for Psylocke is absolute and infinite. I have a tattoo of the character on my arm. That says a lot for me if I'm willing to do that. I don't care if they put Jar Jar Binks in this shit. I still would have gotten it. Can't believe I said that. I hate Jar Jar. All joking aside, if you saw my Legends X-Men wishlist video from a few years ago, then I know you'll understand my excitement. When a figure from my wishlist gets made exactly how I want it and as comic accurate as it should be, it just feels right and justified, not butchered like the Villains 5-pack random figure to piss me off. This figure was done justice all throughout. All new sculpted details, some nice paint apps, new effects finally, which is a refresher. Everything works for me here. I couldn't be a happier Marvel Legends fan right now. I know Hasbro will be back on their BS again with Legends. It's inevitable, but let me enjoy this one. They've been doing good this year, and you know what I say. When they do good, I'll give them their flowers. If we're talking about the Mount Rushmore of female Marvel Legends figures, then I'll put this Lady Mandarin up there with Spyro and Black Widow. The number 4 spot is up for debate, but she's definitely one of the greatest female Marvel Legends figures of all time. I know I said if I had to do a top 10 right now, she would be my number 1, and I don't know what else is coming, so who knows if she ends up my number 1 at the end of the year. She may not be, but she'll definitely be no less than top 5. Legends are on a great track for me to make a full top 10 list at this moment because compared to last year at this time, there wasn't a single Legends figure to make it on my list. Maybe I'll do what I used to do a few years ago and make a mid-year top 10 when June is over to see what matches up at the end of the year to see who stays and who goes. But her being my favorite Legends figure right now is just how I feel. Now I kick it back to you. What do you think of this 2-pack, and how many of you big Psylocke fans had Lady Mandarin on your wish list like I did? All I need now is the Outback Psylocke to help further complete that team, as that's the Psylocke I want most after this Lady Mandarin. If you want to see that happen, then comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. Thanks for watching another Marvel Legends review. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at xmanny87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next review. Peace, peace.